All right, everybody, it's Thursday. That's my favorite day of the week. I am super excited and thrilled that I get a chance to be here with you. This is Stream Like a Boss TV. And what we're talking about tonight is choosing the right live stream platform. And I want to give you some tips. This is going to be a training live stream. So we're going to talk a little bit about some tips on how to actually leverage your unique personality. So your personality to find the perfect match. I get asked this question often. What's the best live stream destination? Like, where should I be going live? So I'm going to share with you a couple of different spaces where it might be a good match for you to play when it comes to your live streams. We don't all have to do things the same. I'll try to give you some examples of different creators and coaches and service providers that are out there doing their thing. But before we get started and all that, I gotta acknowledge my folks, my friends who are here in the room. So look, here's what you do. If you are brand new to the show and you've never been here before, I want you to type in #newbie. And if you've been here even once, you are officially family, so you get to type in #OG. That's how we do things. So which one are you? Are you a #newbie or a #OG? I love it. I love it. I already see Tech Troublemaker in the house saying, somebody take notes for me because I'm driving. I know, right? Because you know we want you to take some notes. Let me pop that up there. What's up, sir? Roy Richardson in the house. I love that you're here. I guess I need to type my name here because I forgot to do that. So let me do that so you know who I am. But I know you, Roy, and I see a couple of other people who are OGs in the house as well. Let me go ahead and pop you up. Carlos Tacos, of course, we got to give you a DJ air horn. I'll make sure I turn that down a little bit. But hey, Carlos Tacos, you know we got to give you a little promo every time you're here. So thank you for showing up. Let's see. I see another OG in the house. Kenya's keepsake. Wonderful to see you, lovely Kenya. And let's see, Dan Roth. Of course, OG all day. I love it.
Stream like a boss.
What's up, y'all? I'm so happy and so excited to see you here. And then there's my girl, Anna, in the house. Love to see you as always. Look, you know I was checking out your spider belt on your post over on LinkedIn, and I was like, what is that? Like, I need to have one of those. So, you know, I'm going to be sending you a note asking you, what the heck is that? But I think it's like a Superwoman utility belt when you're a photographer. So I'm going to be checking that out. But look, y'all, let me take you back to what we're going to be covering tonight. And let me make sure I turn on my Do Not Disturb so we don't get disturbed in the middle of this, because I'm going to be talking about live stream platforms. We're going to cover for you some ideas on using your personality type. And this is kind of cool because there's been some neat stuff I've been doing using my analytical side of things. For those of you who don't know, I've been a corporate analyst 33 years, which is crazy, right? So part of my analytical skills and background involve instructional design. There's also background in different types of personality assessments. My bachelor's degree was in psych. While my master's was in business, my bachelor's and my passion is in psychology. So it's been fun. Let me see. I got a couple of other people I want to welcome and say hello to before we dive into our content for this evening, because I need to acknowledge you and tell you hi and let you know I'm appreciative of you being here. So Mark Warren, Learning with Mark Warren, good to see you. It's wonderful that you're here. Anna, you know I'm going to be checking this out. So trust your girl will be following up. I am coming back to find out more about that. So tonight we're going to talk about choosing the right live stream platform, and I'm going to give you a couple of really cool ways that you can go about doing this and discovering your personality type and how to leverage that when you're choosing the right spaces for you to play. So on the other side of this super short video, because we're changing up a few things here with our run of show for the show, I will be right back. And we're going to go all in on the content if you're ready, okay? So don't forget, if this is your first time, type in #newbie. And if you've been here for any amount of time, you've seen any of our live streams, type in #OG because you're family now. And if you're watching a replay, you can type in #replay for me too, all right? Okay, I'll be right back. You can grab a notepad and a pen, except for... what I was going to say is, except for Roy, because Roy is driving. So no typing and driving. Okay. All righty, folks. So if your question is, how do I know which platform is right for me? That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. How to choose your best live stream platform. And let me do this. I'm going to pull up a couple of different destinations or platforms so that we're on the same page about what we're talking about. And then I want to talk a little bit about how this was an interesting little ride, if you will, a journey for me. And I can suspect that it might be a journey for you as well. So there is no one size fits all. In anything I'm about to say with you or to you tonight, just please know there's no one size fits all. And it doesn't matter who's telling you that. I'm never going to tell you that. I'm always going to say that each of us are individual people and we have to experiment and try new things. But if anybody ever tells you there's this one formula that works for everybody, I just don't buy into that. So I'm not going to give you this information with that being the premise. The premise is I'm going to give you some ideas and things that you can think about and consider, right? So that you have options. Because initially starting out, I didn't really have options. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be, how I wanted to look on camera. I just knew that I wanted to be live. That's all I knew. But I did not know where I should be or what was the right style that I should present myself as. I didn't know any of that. I just got on camera. I started mimicking other people and modeling other people, and then found that in the end, what was right for me wasn't right for some of the other people I was watching. Okay. And the same thing applies when it comes to the platform you choose. So I'm going to give you some examples of the different destinations that we're going to talk about. And these are the ones, I call these like the hot channels. These are the ones that are probably going to be more popular and you're more likely to use if you're looking to do lives, right? Some of them have a real easy threshold for you to be able to actually go live, such as Facebook. It's real simple. You can start. Now they're requiring, depending on where you are in your Facebook space, whether it's a group or a page and all this other stuff, they have different requirements. And specifically, I think that with your page now, you have to have a minimum of 100 followers. So you'll want to study. And the reason why I don't want to get too deep into specific criteria is because what I want to make sure that you use this video content for is something that you can come back to later on. And the criteria will probably change because they always do. So Facebook Live, YouTube Live, LinkedIn Live, Instagram Live, TikTok Live. If you're broadcasting or doing any type of live right now, or if you've been thinking about it and there's one specific space or destination you've been really considering, I want you to type that into the chat. Which of these would you say, hey, I'm really interested in doing live streams on this platform? So if there's one, I want you to type yours into the chat, and I want to see what you're looking to do, because I'm curious about your interest. Now, again, just because I'm going to share with you this personality stuff doesn't necessarily mean that you have to follow the formula, but I'm just going to share with you some ideas based on your personality and where you fall in the 4 archetypes that I'll cover. I'm going to share with you some ideas on the best one for you. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're up to. All right. I see Hicks in the house. Oh, yes. You know, I'm getting ready to do the whole perspective and angles thing. And, you know, some of this I actually leveraged from folks at Live Streaming Pro. So Luria Petrucci and her team, they have created some amazing graphics and other things that I get to use and make my own by branding them the way that I choose to. And so you'll be able to do that as well. If you use Ecamm Live, you want to follow Anna and Fulgens, right? You want to go to the Ecamm Live Stream Network over on YouTube and follow their show called Building Blocks, because they do amazing work with creating graphics as well. And then, of course, if you want to do the prepackaged stuff, I suggest or recommend Luria Petrucci's shop. Okay. Monique is doing LinkedIn Live, trying to reach B2B, YouTube Live to reach consumers. Okay, so there's a couple of spaces for you, which I love. Zakia, hey, notifications actually work tonight. Good. Yay. All right, y'all. I'm going to dive into these 4 live stream archetypes. But before I talk a little bit about that, let me give you some background and some perspective and share why this even came up. So one of the things that I struggled with, and I kind of alluded to this, but I'll go a little bit deeper. When I first started doing live streaming, I was like, okay, I'm not sure who I want to be on camera, right? So what I would do is I went and I searched for other people on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn even at the time. Even though I couldn't get approved for LinkedIn, my clients were getting approved, but I wasn't. But I was looking to find a formula that works. And you know how we do. We go and we see what other successful people are doing and see how we can make that work for ourselves. And what I found is that there were, at the time, a lot of people who were just really out of control, energetic, and that's not my style. If you've known me for any length of time, if you've watched any of my videos, I'm pretty chill. It's who I am, and I'm okay with that. I own that now, but at the time I didn't. I thought, well, somehow I have to just up my game and I have to be this excited and overly enthusiastic person. And I will tell y'all, when I got done with the streams that I was doing, it was draining. It was draining. And now I am an introvert by nature, which we'll talk a little bit about too. So presenting myself to other people and projecting this energy in such a way that is elusive or alien to me was draining anyway. But then trying to really mimic other people's styles that weren't my style, super draining, okay? Not only was it draining, but what that can do for you is if you're in that situation and you're trying to copy and be somebody else, what it ends up doing for you is it creates this scenario where they don't feel connected, because whatever you're presenting yourself to be, however you're showing up on camera, can end up being really magnified, right, by the camera. Like, it's seeing when you're being fake. It's seeing when you're inauthentic. It's seeing when you have certain emotions that you're expressing. And so the important thing is really to fully be yourself, whoever yourself is, right, when you're on video, and own that space. The other thing, besides the fact that other people will experience the fakeness, the other thing, a reason why I think it's important to really understand your style and identify what you love, is because there's a sense of passion and joy, and you have real enthusiasm when you're talking about something you love talking about, when you're feeling like you've set up this space and created this space that you feel confident and comfortable in, right? There are all these different things, these elements, these psychological things that happen when you feel you're in your comfort zone. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you as a newbie, if you're new to live streaming, that that's going to come right away. But I will tell you that it will come the more you get yourself on camera. It just does. So that was one of the things that I knew from the clients that I've worked with over the past several years, and specifically right now I'm running a beta where I'm working with a couple of one-on-one clients in a new workshop that I call Livestream by Design. Well, it's not a workshop, it's a coaching program, but it's a 90-day program where I'm working with them on understanding not only the archetypes I'm going to show you, but also understanding their Myers-Briggs type indicator, for those of you who know what MBTI is. And we're going deep into, okay, based on your personality preference, what you prefer at this time based on how you answered these results, combining that with your live stream archetype, here's some really awesome tips and things that you can do when it comes to your streams that will be uniquely supportive for you when you get on camera, right? And so that has birthed this whole thing that I've started creating. I've been putting together a lot of different content pieces around, and I'm just super excited about it. So I'm going to give you the tip of the iceberg, but it's still going to be good information for you to know. Let's get into the 4 archetypes. Are you ready? We can talk about the 4 archetypes. Now, if you didn't already take the quiz, let me share with you where it is. It's right here at streamlikeaboss.tv/quiz. You don't have to have taken it, but what I encourage you to do is to take the free quiz when we're done, right? So that you find your archetype. It only takes a few minutes to do. Now, here's what we're going to end up showing you when you're done with this 5-minute or so quiz, is you're going to end up seeing one of these 4 archetypes that I'm about to show you right now. And if you have already taken the quiz and you know what yours is, I want you to call it out. Or as I'm explaining these, if you know what yours is, I want you to call it out, okay? Let's try to blow that up a little bit bigger there. Okay, so what I've done literally is come up with these 4 archetypes. And an archetype is a representation of your personality, okay? It's a representation based on the way that you've answered these different questions, and that you're able to see or get more insight into your energy level, how you love to do content, how you like to perform or not perform, but inspire other people and instruct them. There's 4 specific types that you'll see here. And if I need to blow this up bigger, just let me know in the comments so that I know to make it a little bit larger. But let's see if we can do that. Okay. Ooh, that's too large. We'll just leave it right there, okay? But I'll try to explain it to you. So energetic entertainer is 1. And here's the thing about the energetic entertainer. When it comes to the energetic entertainer, what you'll find is that this specific person has high energy. They are really engaging. They like to do spontaneous things. So while they might initially just be talking on camera to you, all of a sudden they may say, you know what, I'm going to do something fun. Let's pull out a whiteboard and I'm going to start drawing a cartoon. Or maybe they'll burst out in song, or maybe they have a talent for dance, or maybe they start reading poetry or tell a joke or whatever it is, but they get really enthusiastic. They love the entertainment factor of doing live streams. And so this is one of the 4 archetypes. But one of the things that I want to encourage you to do if you fall into this energetic entertainer category is to really manage your energy level, because it can be hard to balance your entertainment factor with an actual message. And so let me circle to something on that I want to make sure I share with you. So when I talk about live streaming, it might be different from other people that you work with that talk about live streaming. Specifically, I am a coach first. So I'm a business coach first because I've been doing business coaching for 20 plus years. But second, I'm a video marketer and creator. Okay, so that comes after. The reason why I say that is because when I talk to my clients, when I talk to you as a community about live streaming, I'm talking about how are you using this video content that you're spending time to create to actually convert potential lurkers into leads and into clients. How are we taking people from the audience into becoming a part of our email list, into becoming a part of our paid communities, into becoming clients that we get to work with and serve on a whole nother level so that they're transforming? What you're doing is you're creating all these ripple effects because you being on camera is starting the wave, and then all this positive energy is coming out of that as they work with you and they build their business and they grow too, right? This is why I love working with coaches and service providers. So I'm saying that to set the foundation that when I'm talking to you about this whole personality thing and why it's important to really understand who you are and to identify your branding and how you want to show up on camera, it's because there is a greater purpose. There is an offer-based content that you're creating. It's not just I'm creating it to be creating it. So when you're engaging as an energetic entertainer, when you're in this first quadrant over here on the left, upper left, what you have to be mindful of is that fun is great. Spontaneity is great. Being energized and enthusiastic and coming up with stuff is great. And you're probably going to build a pretty solid and fast community because people love fun, right? They love the entertainment factor. But you're going to have to think about, how do I balance that with the message and with the call to action? How do I drive people down a certain path? Because fun is great, likes are great, but likes do not pay the light bill. I always say that. So I just want you to kind of keep that in mind as an energetic entertainer. And then for those of you who are familiar with the Myers-Briggs, and we won't go too deep into that tonight, but if you're familiar with that, I've also indicated the different MBTI personality types that typically fit within the energetic entertainer. Now, this is not science. So these are based on my own studies and my knowledge of Myers-Briggs, and as a facilitator in the past who has worked with people in that space, these are the typical personality types that tend to fall into the energetic entertainer. Okay, if that sounds like you, I want you to put an EE, okay? If not, we're going to move on to the charismatic connector, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the charismatic connector. Now, before I do that, I will say this. If you're looking for an example of energetic entertainer, let me show you this guy over at the Try Guys, I think. Yeah, the Try Guys is their channel. They have 8.02 million subscribers, so lots and lots of subscribers, right? But when you look at the Try Guys YouTube channel, they have live streams, and most of the time they're very high energy. They're doing a lot. They're doing the most. Like, they're showcasing stuff. They're demoing things, right? Mr. Beast could probably even be considered an energetic entertainer, but that may or may not fit your style, and probably isn't the best if I'm thinking about fellow coaches, but I will give you some coaching examples here in a second as well for some of the other types. So, Carlos, I see. Insightful instructor. Good. Okay. I'm going to come to that one in just a second. So the second one that we'll talk about is charismatic connector. So your charismatic connector is a person who is really personable. They're a networker. They're conversational. I know several people who are charismatic connectors. Let me pull this up so that you can see the chart again. Let's see. John said energetic entertainers sounding exhausting. Well, that's probably because you fit in a similar category as I do, but we'll talk about that too. Okay, I want you to try to identify yourself in these descriptions. So charismatic connector, again, very much a networker, conversational, they love to build connection, they're fostering community and collaborative opportunities. So they're all about creating connections and networking with other people. One person that I actually work with is Patty Farmer, and she's amazing at networking. As a matter of fact, one of the first ways that I met Patty Farmer was because she was networking. She had these huge networking events and some intimate ones too, where she would always be like putting people together. Hey, I know this person that can do this, and I would refer you over here, and I do this, right? As a charismatic connector, these people are known also mostly for energy. So they have high energy. They have an ability to be able to really help people feel like they're a community. So they're fostering a sense of community. They have a big challenge with this thing. This is the big thing. The challenge that comes for charismatic connectors is that they're so busy connecting that sometimes they might forget to balance that interaction with actual content. So this would be a person, for example, who when they get on their live, they're like, and we do this, right? Okay, so because you're family, and I ask you at the very beginning to type in hashtag OG or type in hashtag newbie to help you identify yourself as part of our community. But you'll see that there are some people who do live streams, and probably the first 20 minutes is all connecting, right? It's all audience. It's like them having this conversation with the audience. And so the balancing act for charismatic connectors with live is that you have to remember to give the content. Don't forget the content, right? Now, some of you may be spotting yourself in more than one archetype, and that's okay, because these are preferences, and If I'm sharing with you challenges to overcome, you'll get more information, by the way, when you actually take the quiz. I'm sharing with you challenges to overcome. So if you're listening and you're like, ooh, that's something that I need to work on, remember to balance the content with the community interaction, okay? That is a balancing act specifically for charismatic connectors. So like I said, Patty Farmer is one of those. Another person who is a charismatic connector that I've seen on live is Marie Forleo. Let me see if I have her pulled up. Let me try to pull her up real quick here. And the reason why I suggest her as one who could be a charismatic connector is because she really is all about showcasing people. Now, mind you, she's got the balance down. She's doing a round table here. She's got the balancing act down because not only is she connecting folks in all of her different programs, and she had something called B School that was super popular for a long time. I remember everybody was going through B School. But one of the things that I love about what she does is that she always brings it back to, hey, the offer. So if in the video that I just kind of showed you really quickly, if in the video she has people connecting and communicating and fostering this, family feel, but she's also showcasing social proof, because what that was is a round table of her former B School students. Okay? So as a charismatic connector, the connections that you're making, you have an opportunity to actually leverage the connections that you've made, whether it be clients or community folks that you're supporting, but you have an opportunity to still use that video content and the conversations that you're having in the chat to continue to build and foster moving people through your sales process. So you can use it as social proof. You can use the chat to identify specific questions that people are asking so that you then, for your next segment or show, say, hey, I've got this Ask Me Anything show, this segment that I'm doing based on all of the questions that were asked about live streaming. I'm using me for an example over the past year. So I could literally, as a charismatic connector, go back through my chat and maybe even use Chat GPT, y'all, and identify common themes or FAQs that people are asking and then answer those. So there are a number of different ways, if you're spotting it, that if you know who you are and you've identified your gifts and what your personality preferences are, that you can leverage that so that you turn your live streams into lead magnets so that you're driving people through your process. Okay? All right. Anybody see themselves as a charismatic connector? I want you to pop that in there. Hey, Tatiana Teaches. Good to see you. All right. I'm going to go to the next one. And that next one, if you're a charismatic connector, I want you to put that in the chat. If you're an energetic entertainer, put that one in the chat. Here's the one that Carlos Tacos is. Carlos, you and I are on the same page. Let me pop your comment up real quick here because I saw it back there, right there. Insightful instructor. I am too. Can you get some of the characteristics of what an insightful instructor might be just by listening to me? I'm going to share a few things with you about insightful instructors. So what they do is they provide this structured content, which is pretty much what we're doing tonight. We're talking about the personalities, and then or the archetypes. Then I'm going to draw that back to your destinations in the social spaces that will be really good for you to explore to see if they're a right fit for you. But insightful instructors, their characteristics are that they're pretty strategic, usually analytical, detail-oriented. Some of their strengths are that they are educators. So educational content tends to be your jam. You might be giving detailed explanations like we're doing tonight. And you provide clear step-by-step instructions where it makes sense. You may even do some demos. You may even insert a little bit of energetic entertainer into your demonstrations of how to do things. But ultimately, your central space where you love to be is in educating and instructing people. One of the challenges here is that you need to make sure that you balance, and this is, I'm not going to say a struggle, But I will say it's something I have to be super intentional about, and that is balancing information with engagement. Okay. So I can give information all day. I can sit here and be a talking head, but is that really engaging? If I'm not asking you questions and asking you to participate and showcasing your comments and acknowledging you, then I'm missing an opportunity. So that's the thing that typically insightful instructors have to really watch out for is, am I balancing the information that I'm giving with the engagement factor? So I love it. Let me pop this up because Tatiana, that totally makes sense. She says, I feel like I'm a blend. And a lot of us are. We have components from multiple things, but there's probably going to be one that is the core. There's probably going to be one that's the top preference for you. Let's see. I guess if you had a team, you could pick people with different archetypes to cover all the bases. I love how you think, John. That is beautiful. And it is true. It is true. So if you did have a team of people, or if you had a panel, think about that. If you had a live stream panel and you were doing a show with a bunch of different people who are constantly, coming together to do these shows, what if you had one for all 4 archetypes? What a cool way to actually reach people wherever they are. That's an interesting little thing. I love this. Let me see. Hand up. Okay. And insightful instructor too. I love to teach. I love to demo. I love to problem solve. Also a bit of SSINFJINFT. Okay. Love it. Now, like I said, not an exact science, but I did also share, and let me pop this back up real fast too. I did also share that each of these has the 4 MBTI, right? It's got 4 MBTI indicators, but when we do the workshop that I'm going to be doing later this month, I'll actually be breaking this down and talking about how your Myers-Briggs personality plus your archetype can work together to really benefit you, how you can use certain marketing keywords, how you can create a contract with yourself that really stands out and affirms you every time you get on camera. There's a bunch of stuff that comes with that, but that's pretty fun. Let's see. John. I was waiting for introverted nerd. No, I thought insightful instructor, knowing your style and seeing what you do, it feels like that might be a good fit for you too. So I'm not surprised at all if that ends up being the one for you. Okay, the final one, and then we're going to dig into these destinations and how to choose your actual platform based on the type. So storytelling sage. There's a really great coach who knows who he is, RK3, Robert Kennedy III, who is a storytelling sage. As a matter of fact, I think he has that on his channel. And by the way, insightful instructor, another insightful instructor who's on YouTube would be Amy Porterfield. So for those of you who know Amy Porterfield, she could be considered an insightful instructor. She's very much an intellectual. Gary Vee, to me, kind of feels somewhere between energetic entertainer and insightful instructor at times. But he also tells a lot of stories. So he has actually a good blend of at least 3, maybe even all 4. Okay, but RK3, if you go to his YouTube channel, Robert Kennedy III, he's a strategic storyteller. He even has this written on his YouTube channel, which I thought was really cool when I went out here, because he's the first person I thought of as an example. And what he does is, as he's sharing with people, he's sharing stories. He's talking about stories that they can identify with so that they really, get the point that he's driving home. So let's say a little bit about storytelling sages. Storytelling sages, they are creative, they're empathetic, they're imaginative, and they have a lot of charisma. I can so see that with him. Their strengths, emotional connection. So being able to really connect not only the story that they're telling, but also making that impact so that you feel, not just see, but you feel what they're saying and what they're talking about on a deeper level. An engaging narrative. So creating a storyline that kind of runs through everything that they're talking about, and sometimes carrying that forward in almost like a soap opera-esque style where they're talking about a story today and they're saying, okay, and next time we're going to talk about this. And it's like picking up where they left off. Storytellers, that's a gift. I love that. Now, challenges for them. And let me pull it back up again so you can see it. Storytelling stages, the challenge for them can be maintaining creativity, not just telling the story, but telling it in a way that makes the connection. And also balancing the storytelling with actionable content, because sometimes we get on camera and we tell stories, but it really isn't driving people anywhere. It's not an actionable thing that's taking people to do something specific, whether it's for their life, their soul, their family, or anything, right? So we want to think about, if we're a storytelling sage, we want to think about how do we ensure that our stories are relating back to what the point is that we're wanting to make, and how is it driving action and encouraging action. We want that. So those are my 4 archetypes, and I wanted to kind of break that down so that you know that and understand it. Now's a good time for us to take you to these destinations that I was talking about, because depending on which archetype you might fall into, there could be one or more of these destinations that might be more of your speed, right? So when you're doing lives or trying to set up your live stream strategy and you're thinking about, well, where do I want to actually do my lives? This personality and understanding your archetypes can help you make some decisions, at least on what to experiment with and where you should try to hang out and do, do the best you on camera, okay? So let's talk a little bit about that, and let me pop up these again. Okay. Now, Facebook Live can be a great platform for charismatic connectors and for insightful instructors. It's one of the reasons why I actually love, and I started with Facebook Live before anything else. First of all, it's a low threshold of you being able to get in and actually even do the live. Like, you don't have to go and get 1,000 people, and you don't have to have, there's less criteria that needs to be met. But secondly, it is a more personal and interactive platform. So Facebook Live for charismatic connectors and insightful instructors would be a good idea for you to check out, because it allows for you to connect with your audience in real time. And again, it's easier for you to really focus in on your gifts and your strengths when you're using it. So that's number 1. Now, LinkedIn Live is perfect for insightful instructors, again, and charismatic connectors who want to establish themselves as a thought leader in their industry. It's a more professional platform. It's ideal for sharing knowledge and expertise. Now, I'm going to say that, but then I'm going to give you the disclaimer. And the disclaimer is this: I've seen a handful of people who were energetic entertainers that have done exceedingly well on LinkedIn. Part of the reason is because there are probably a lot of thought leaders and insightful instructors on LinkedIn. I will tell you personally what I experienced with LinkedIn, and I've been experimenting with this, so there's still more to come. But what I've seen as I look through their feed, because now LinkedIn has a feed that is very much more similar to like Instagram Reels and TikTok and that type of thing. And so when you get, particularly on your mobile, if you're looking at LinkedIn and you're looking at the video feed and you're scrolling through, you'll see a lot of talking heads, like people who are giving specific knowledge-based advice or how-tos and that type of thing. But you won't see a lot of singing and dancing and poetry and that kind of stuff. You just won't see that. It's the space. It's the space that's different. So when you think about that and what people are more likely to engage with, because I see that people are more likely to engage when I'm talking directly into the camera about a specific message point on LinkedIn. They're more likely to engage with that than they would be with just a repurposed live stream. Because I've created that specific message point to speak to them as an individual person for that space. So the same thing when you're thinking about insightful instructors and charismatic connectors on LinkedIn, that ideally could be a way for you to really showcase your knowledge and your ability to connect. The whole networking thing is a given when it comes to LinkedIn. So LinkedIn Live could be an ideal spot for you to try. For those of you who are insightful instructors and storytelling sages, let me pop that back up so you can see. If you're a storytelling sage, then YouTube Live. If you're an energetic entertainer, YouTube Live. If you're an insightful instructor, you have a space there as well. But I think that energetic entertainers, storytelling sages, and you, who want to create more in-depth educational content or awareness or connection or just excitement and enthusiasm, any of those particular spaces. So again, that's energetic entertainer, storytelling sage, and insightful instructor. You can do pretty well on YouTube Live. Charismatic connectors can do well too, but you got to think about the thing that is, look, let me say this. Facebook has this built-in space where people can communicate with each other. So they've got Messenger, they've got groups, they've got all this stuff, right? YouTube has a community tab, but it's not quite the same in terms of connecting. And that's why I'm saying charismatic connectors probably would do better on Facebook because it's easier to drive people to other spaces within Facebook. Whereas with YouTube, you especially want to be careful that you're not driving people off of your channel too quickly because that can penalize your channel. So again, this is one of the reasons why I'm saying that the other personalities or archetypes would probably benefit more from YouTube Live than maybe a charismatic connector. If you're a connector and you really want people like, you know, connecting and having more of an experience with you, it's doable on YouTube, but it's really easier to do on LinkedIn Live and on Facebook. Okay, let me check in with you and see if anybody has questions before I do the last ones. Oddly, I see a lot of extroverted people talking about nothing with their 100 closest friends on LinkedIn Live. It's so fun. There's just so many different things that you might see in your feed depending on how your feed is set up and who's following you and who you're following. So yeah, you kind of have to explore with that a little bit, right? Let's see. Okay, I think we have one more. Let me find maybe two more. Let's find those notes. Okay, so we talked about Facebook Live, we talked about LinkedIn Live, we talked about YouTube Live, so TikTok and Instagram. So TikTok could be really, let me ask you, which of the 4 archetypes do you think is really excellent on TikTok Live? I'm going to pop up the 4 archetypes. Which one do you think? It's probably pretty darn obvious. I'm going to go ahead and say it. It's the energetic entertainers who do super well on TikTok Live. Why? Because it is really, truly an entertainment space. It's what people kind of expect. I can tell you that I haven't done nearly as well on TikTok simply because of the insightful instructor nature of myself being a little bit at odds and conflict with the energetic entertainer space that a lot of other people tend to create. So yes, Monique, exactly. She put it down. You got it. Monique is the winner. It is energetic entertainer. That typically is going to do really well on TikTok. Now, another one that does pretty well on TikTok is storytelling sages who want to create short form interactive content that is visually engaging and entertaining. So again, this is not to tell you you shouldn't, just because you're an insightful instructor, that you shouldn't be on TikTok. I'm just giving you options and ideas and ways to think of this according to your style. If you've been a little confused and kind of like, I'm not sure, where should I show up? Where do I need to play? So this is hopefully giving you some ideas to really ponder. Like, if this is my archetype and this is my personality style and this is my preference, where do I want to play? This gives you some ideas. So TikTok, definitely energetic entertainers, right on the money, Monique, and storytelling sages. And yes, Radiance by Raytilia, same thing. TikTok is great for energetic entertainers. Okay, the last one, and that is Instagram Live. I'm going to pop up my chart one more time here. So Instagram Live is great for energetic entertainers as well, and also for charismatic connectors who want to connect with their audience in a more personal and interactive way. What I've seen, yeah, even though it doesn't necessarily have its own group space, I mean, you can create broadcast channels and drive people there from your live streams on Instagram. You can use DMs, so you can use like ManyChat and Stampede Social to help connect people. There are lots of different ways that you can use your live stream on Instagram, but specifically the two that I'm calling out for that, yeah, probably the energetic entertainer, just like TikTok, and the charismatic connector. Now, I will say that insightful instructors can do well there too. You'll draw a different audience, and you need to be okay with that. And your audience growth may be slower than an energetic entertainer, okay? But it's still doable. Really, any of the 4 archetypes are doable on any of the platforms. But if you're struggling with figuring out where to start, hopefully the information I've shared with you will give you a starting point, something for you to look into and aspire to, right? Because the ones that really are a better match for your archetype or your personality type typically are going to give you a faster growth than if you're trying to do something that's quite outside of your space. It doesn't mean it can't be done, but it means that if you're looking for a faster track and something that really fits with your type, these suggestions, because that's all they are. They're not a formula for success in a box that you have to stay in. But these suggestions are a great starter. Let me see your note. Okay, if you identified yourself in any of those spaces, I want to hear from you. Let me know which one you find yourself to be. So much of TikTok Live is literally just chat, which is fascinating to me. Join me and I'll say your name out loud. Yes. And they love that. And so remember, keeping in mind the context of which I'm giving you this information here tonight is about if you're a coach, if you're a service provider, if you have an offer of services that people can pay for and invest in with you so that you can help them to transform their business, their life, their relationships, their family, anything, right? If that is you and you're looking to leverage live streaming for that purpose, that's pretty much what I help people to do. If you're simply, which a lot of people label themselves as creators, like that is the label, and that's how they want to make money through brand sponsorships and all those other things. And they want to monetize through these different stream channels. That's a slightly different way of thinking about how you're doing these live streams. So I'm giving it to you from the perspective of you have a business that you're driving people to. Video and live streaming is the vehicle by which you want to do that. There is a little bit of a different mentality and mindset, right? Yeah, this is funny. I remember that too, Monique. I used to watch Romper Room. Oh my goodness, you made me laugh. In the 1970s, so the teacher would say my name in her magic mirror. I remember Romper Room. So you my people. All right, let's pull this up. So energetic entertainer, charismatic connector. Let me start here. You thrive on high energy if you're an energetic entertainer. You love engaging interactions. You like to make your live streams very lively. There's a lot of spontaneity and there's fun. If you are a charismatic connector, you excel at forming personal connections during your live streams, creating a loyal and intimate community. Insightful instructors, that's me. You provide structured, informative content that educates and builds trust, positioning you as an expert in your field. And then storytelling sages. You captivate your audience with enchanting narratives and inspirational talks, making your live streams memorable and impactful. And look, there's a lot of other things that each of these different archetypes can do. And so if you've taken the quiz, which I'm going to pop up one more time for you, if you take the quiz over here, you're going to get a one-page report that will give you even more insights, tips, things to watch out for, And I'll also send you a little bit of an educational series of emails so that you know exactly how to use this. Now, I am going to give you all this disclaimer and tell you I'm in the process right now of moving a bunch of my stuff into a new space. So if somehow my emails get a little tricky, it's just because I'm in the process of recreating some stuff. But initially, the one thing you're going to get if you get nothing else, when you take the quiz, you're going to get that report, access to the report, and a short video where I'm giving you more insight into your archetype. So I hope this is fun. Oh my gosh, are you serious, John? This is the second live today I've been in where someone has mentioned Romper Room because these are your people, John. We are your family. We are your family. This is your people. I love it, y'all. Thank you so much for being here. Again, here's that 4-part archetype. If you fit into any one of those, I'm curious into which one you fit into. If you see a combination or a blend, what's the right blend for you? Are you kind of a mix between energetic entertainer and storytelling sage? What is it that works for you? Shoot me a note. Put it in here in the chat. And even if you're watching the replay, I'll definitely come back and acknowledge, because I really love seeing how people have identified or what your preference is, right? And if you have yet to find your space and you're not exactly sure where you should be live streaming, I want to hear from you on that too, because I can help, okay? So if you need to set up a call with me, we can talk through it, and I'll share with you some of the things that we have coming up. We're going to be having on the 27th, I believe, so in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a whole workshop that speaks to not only the archetypes that we talked about, which are really high level. We're going to go deeper into the Myers-Briggs personality type and how that can help you with your live stream marketing and other forms of media marketing as well. So super excited. Thank you, Monique, for the kind words. I appreciate it. Oh, I am definitely an insightful instructor. Yes, I am. And I don't mind owning that. Now I own it. All right, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you again for showing up. If you have questions on anything we've talked about tonight, let me know in the chat. I want to hear from you. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the channel. Make sure that you do continue to hang out with us. We come on Thursdays. And as a matter of fact, we're doing a little bit of a switch up in our show format. So over the next several Thursdays, it will be me solo, but I'm also going to be having guests that may be on a different day and time of the week. So just stay tuned. If you're not already connected, make sure you go to streamlikeaboss.tv. Roy, thank you for coming, sir. I hope you did not get into any accidents trying to take notes. Thank you, John. Thank you, Radiance by Raytilia. I love it. Love, love, love. Okay, Insightful Instructor out. Thank you, Stephen Wicks and LinkedIn. I appreciate you watching from LinkedIn. All right, y'all. Have a good night, and I will see you next time in the stream.